to stabilize for me? Let's get this started. Hello, how are you? Welcome back, my name's Megan, and I'm glad that you clicked on this video. Hope you enjoyed the sketchbook tour that's about to ensue. I filmed this already, but then I looked back on it and thought, you sound so miserable and sad, Megan. Try again. So, here's the second go round. You'll see a little bit of practice for it on the inside there. I'll overlay a picture of what it was like when I first did it, because it looked a lot better at first. This sketchbook has been well beat up. Started on the 31st of March 2020 and ended 10th of November 2020. So this lasted like 10 months. It's a little long for a sketchbook. I mean, it varies. I had a while a few years ago where I was really hammering through sketchbooks. This is my 9th official sketchbook. I drew a picture for my sister and she drew a picture for me. So I drew this, but my sister coloured it with Sharpies. And then I redrew it to colour it the way I would have coloured it, with like alcohol-based markers, and she was pretty cute. She's got absolutely no neck, but maybe that was part of just the pose. She's got her shoulders pretty high up. You'll see a lot of these little landscapes. I was doing an art project for school. It was actually because the junior cert got cancelled, my art teacher got us to sort of finish the projects we were working on anyway, but in a slightly different way. This was a little one in alcohol-based marker. That's a view from the top, probably not the top, but from Mahon Waterfalls in Waterford. My sister got me to draw that for her. Ooh, this and this. These were from first year actually, I think, from one of these ink dipping things. This one looked like a dragon, which is cool. So I just drew little eyes on it. Some little stuff from a random prompts drawing app. Random drawing idea generator, what's it called? These two, I did a Zoom call with some friends, some much younger friends, and they described to me some things to draw, and so they had a drawing each. There's another one, but this one's acrylic paint, and all of the critiques that I wrote on myself and thoughts are written in Irish.
Paint acrylic ar pápéir canvas. Is brála an bailach a taon an paint ar an size pápéir seo. Hánig an spéir agus sparkle macama, ach bhí made písa heavy-handed, that's not an Irish word, leis an foreground. Just throwing the odd English word.
Like character development. It's actually the lake at Dublin Zoo was a reference for that. You'll see a little bit more of her. That was fun, doodling faces. It's really nice to let yourself go and just do random stuff like that. It's a good thing to do when watching TV or something, because you can sort of absorb the faces that you're looking at into what you're drawing. Ah yeah, there she is. I drew that on a beautiful summer's day. I was sitting on this storage box in our back garden because it was the only place where the sun was. Our garden is north facing, and so we don't get an awful lot of sun in there. So I was stealing the last bit of sunlight. More random drawing prompts that I used. I think this is all very random drawing prompt stuff. I really love these two characters that I came up with. It's like a husband and wife who drives a library truck. He does the driving. He's like the librarian, and she deals with the moving boxes and stuff, I think. That was the idea. But I really loved how much contrast. Here's a dodo. It was a drawing challenge with some friends to draw extinct animals. So that was acrylic paint. Quite happy with that. I saw one of my friend's signatures, actually the Oceana Orla Art. She's got an Instagram now. I told you about her Redbubble, but she's got an Instagram too now. And she's got a really cool signature that she made up out of the letters of her name, so I wanted to do that too. That's what I came up with. You can see the M and the W joined by an S. I was watching some old musicals. Well, not old musicals, musicals set in old times. Oh, this was again for that school thing, and I've got a huge painting on a canvas. I did a lot of the painting of that outside actually, because it was back in summer. And it was, with such a massive picture, it was just easier to do it in the garden. I actually won a contest in my school because of that painting, which is cool. It's the first time I'd ever won an art contest. That's Emo Court. A very popular place to walk in Laois. This was using up paint from my palette, and that was actually, you know, the goopy paint when you've been using acrylic, how when you put water on it after it's dried, it like gets all, don't know how to describe it, you'll understand. So then instead of just throwing it away, I plopped it on the sketchbook and it ended up looking like a side profile of a person. Again, using up paint from my palette. This was another thing to do with that school, and I was so happy with how this turned out, this little painting. I believe the reference for that was a picture we took when we went to Abbelik's boardwalk. It's over a bog though. It's really pretty. I think that's from a reference at Altamount Gardens. This is another drawing session with my friends that I was saying about earlier, and again they described two different things to me for me to draw. Doing a very cartoonized doodly thing and then seeing what it looked like in a slightly more, it's not realistic, but doing some development of this character with a pettily looking dress. Here's how she turned out. I think I coloured that with Copics. Sometimes I didn't go back and try to make sense of what I shoved onto the page from not wanting to waste paint on my palette, but I really like how that looks. It sort of looks like forest or something. You tell me what you think it looks like. I drew, so this very cartoony person, I redrew like this, and then like developed her face even further to what she might look like. Oh no, that she must be her. They look more similar, and then that's that. And these two, are you ready? Ta-da! Dancing! That hand, I remember, like, well now I'm like, wow, that hand, that's really good, because I don't think I used a reference for that. He looks like he's in a right tizzy. Oh, this must have been one of those times of those slumps of frustration. I wish I could draw. You'll probably see some more of them. Hands are hard. They are. You didn't do too bad though, Megan of the past. I really loved how that face looked. Like really subtle, the like little details in it, and I really like that one too. Ooh, some people at a party. These are a series of 3-colour challenges where I drew the person first and then picked the colours, and I was using water-based markers so I could use paintbrushes and make cool effects and mix them easier and stuff like that. That was really fun. Oh yeah, this was the start of something. It was all my process and all my development for this picture that I did for the Copic Award, because I thought, oh, I have Copics, I could enter this competition, it's free to enter, you don't have to send any art away and risk never seeing it again. So there was a lot of development for that. I was designing these costumes that we would be wearing. It was based on a photo of me and my sister and our cousins. And I was looking at it and thinking, it looks like we're playing, even though we're just posing for a photo. And I was like, did a swirl. Hopefully it's overlaid right now and I'm not just talking into the air. If you can see, it's like a swirl. On the inside of the swirl of imagination, we're in these more olden day clothes, and like there's actual oars in one of our hands, and I think a sword's coming out. But then you can see where we actually are. We're actually just in a forest in normal modern day clothes. Ooh, I really like this portrait. I opened a pencil case, a random one, and said I'm going to use whatever's in this pencil case to do a piece of artwork. And I opened it and it was mostly like Crayola markers and a few fine liners, I think. So I drew this. This was a self-portrait that I took the reference picture when I was going to an 80s party. That's when my hair looks wild. It wasn't actually green, but I didn't have any natural colours. It really suits the 80s theme though. This is another one where I just thought, whoa, I really love how that looks, Megan. Like, don't draw clothes on it because you'll ruin it. Some trying collage, one of the successful attempts at collage. I think the whole picture is based off this shape that I ended up with at some point. And then I thought, oh, that sort of looks like a bodice, and so designed this person, superhero. This illustrates my struggles with collage. Tell me if you've got any tips on making collage look good. Maybe it's just not for me, I don't know. More designing. I was realising with these that I needed to work on the skull, like the head, working on understanding the head, which does happen a lot later on, which you will know if you watch my 2 videos on Med's 100 Heads challenge and this personal challenge I set for myself, Face Timber. I'll flick very fast through those when they come along, because there's 2 whole videos on them that you can watch if you want to see those. I believe this is another bit of an art slump, where I was feeling unhappy about how I was drawing faces, which is why I really practiced on them a bit later. Oh, this is when the one time we went to IKEA, but the queues were still super long because they were limiting how many people are allowed in the shop. So we were in the queue for probably over an hour, which gave me a perfect opportunity to draw the people in front of me. Creepy artists drawing people in public. If you've ever done that, you can relate, but I was just hoping they wouldn't turn around and see me. I was really happy with how it turned out. Usually don't get enough time to actually draw the people that you're trying to draw because things move so fast. Here was a little holiday, well, staycation is what people like to call them. It's in the middle of nowhere. We had an amazing view. This is a watercolour one I did. Went on a little walk and managed to draw that. So I had some time to just sit and draw. Because when your family's walking around, you might relate. You can't just be drawing all the time because they're moving on without you and you can't hold everyone up. So I just sat down on the side of the sea, of the harbour, and just drew. And all of my, like, you can see what the ground's like. All of my markers were spread out around me. Here was another little scene I got to draw from real life, just sitting on a wall of a beach. These are my superhero team I've had for years and years since I was so young. I'll have to put a picture over top of the, like, what I think is the first time I ever drew these guys. And then I was trying to come up with a background story for Pearl Girl, Amazing Ash Boy, Little Lava Lady. These were from reference, they weren't. I was playing with these new pens I got. These Papermate Inkjoy liquid. I realised that they're water soluble. It took 10 minutes drawing from life because I was looking at what's required for leaving cert, and there's a life drawing thing you have to do. So I was trying to practice with that. I haven't done any more practice since then, but I've got 2 years, like, you know. The absence of evidence is not necessarily the evidence of absence. My cousin wanted me to draw one of her original characters. Oh, and my sister was teaching me and my cousin calligraphy. This is another art slump where I was like, I can't draw. But I really like that guy. When you just feel like you can't draw and nothing's turning out right, just drawing really simple things can be great for getting back into it and making art feel fun again. Or drawing things that you're feeling inspired by at the moment. I really enjoyed this. I think this drawing started with, like, possibly this woman, and then I drew Spider-Man. And then I saw a scene was forming, so I believe I stuck the background in and then figured out the rest of it from there. Practicing 2-point perspective, which I discovered pretty recently. Again, wanting to do a thing with a full background, but I drew these characters first. I took a picture of this and finished it digitally, so I'll put a picture of that over top of when I touched it up and fixed it up a bit. But I was feeling really confident about anatomy and feeling like I'd been doing some good breakthroughs. They were really fun too. I got my cousin to say a few prompts. So she said wine bottle, ginger, man, and builder. That's what I came up with. And then I got her to tell me some shapes, and that's what came out of the shapes. I believe she's like a light bulb shape. It was because of how I was feeling like I was making big bounds in anatomy and drawing cartoony people and just feeling confident. So I wanted to do a redraw to see how I changed in the way I drew things. From this was the first time I drew this character to this. So happy with this, like the energy in it. I think I was drawing a lot more lines of action to start my drawings, which is so helpful. You know when you just draw something and you're like, yes, this is it, and you just can't stop looking at it and you're so happy with it? That was this when I drew it. Here's what I was talking about, going on the huge binge of practicing faces and heads. That was a game of life that I illustrated, that we'd played, the board game, to make it less boring. I was drawing the whole time, and making decisions in the game that would make my original character more interesting instead of decisions that would help me win the game. If you want to see any of these drawings more in depth, or see the processes behind these drawings, look at my video on Med's 100 Heads challenge and my Face Timber challenge. I explain more about these two drawings a bit more in those videos, because there was a very interesting experience behind those two. Now this is the start of the Med's 100 Heads. I'm skipping a few drawings for now just to get through these head drawings, because you've probably looked at these all before. So happy with that one. I really enjoyed that too, the acrylic paint. I did a whole video on these. This guy, this is from that random prompt app as well. And it came out as Leonardo da Vinci as a mermaid. So I have Leonardo da Vinci as a mermaid painting the mermaid Lisa, or the Mona mermaid. What would you call it as a mermaid? Tell me in the comments what you think she should be called. And then this was, we went on a walk, and my cousin has gotten really into drawing, so we both wanted to stop and draw nature for a change. It wasn't just me holding everyone up, so we just got to sit there while everyone else walked and we did art. I actually put in a few of the blades of grass that were there. I brought them home and stuck them in. It's nice being able to just sit there and draw outside. There's a whole video, 2 whole videos on these sketches, the Buttercup Boy one and the Dog Days of Disgust one. And then this is going to be another drawing that I was going to do, of inspired by bluebells, because bluebells make me think of my mom and dad's wedding. I mean, even though I wasn't there or even in existence. They had bluebells as one of the flowers in their bouquet. Never ended up drawing it though. Maybe I'll come back to it in the future. Again, there's a video on this. There's a whole painting. Want to see a flash of it? That was a bit too fast. You can see that in my last video. Ooh, these guys. I was drawing lots of cute little people on notebook paper. So I cut them all out and put them in a crowd scene. Maybe something I'll return to, that idea at some point. It sort of looks like a Where's Wally scene, that's cool. And it's probably easier to put together a scene like that when you've just got loads of cutouts, and then you can overlap them easily. This drawing is inspired by, again, Oceana Orla Art, because she sent me a sketch of an idea she'd been working on, or that she'd had, about like a tree in a teacup floating on the ocean, and the tree's a cafe. I never got as far as some of those elements, but we've got this tree in a teacup, which is cool and a good practice for drawing trees. I had to look up a reference for that. As I said in the previous video, trees are not my strong suit. This is drawing to the end. I wrote a reflection on the last 10 months that this sketchbook covered, and did the mandatory Jade and Nita drawing that everyone seemed to be doing that I hadn't done yet. Oh, this, I saw someone on Instagram doing these drawings where they like did loads of little boxes and then we're going round them and round them and round them. So then, using that colour scheme, I did this. I was just sitting on the sofa watching some TV, so I was just looking around the living room seeing what I could draw, and this is the lamp. So just no sketching, just starting with the lightest colour and working up and up and up. I did so many of these then because I really enjoyed doing them. Like coming up with a palette and then sticking with that in the other picture. These spreads look really cool because of that. This is a thing on our mantelpiece. All of these were just drawn from life. I didn't take a photo reference, which I think is always good practice. It's almost like just doing still life, but in a fun way. I never found still life the most fun thing to do. It is a water bottle! Indeed. Really love how the lid turned out on that. Listen, These headphones are actually yellow, but I'd already established the colour scheme, so you have to go with it. And they were sitting like right across the other side of the room and I was trying to draw them. This is from a chocolate box. And I thought it looked cool, so I glued it in the sketchbook. There's nothing really in the back here, it's like old stuff that just keeps getting transferred. I don't know. And there's no drawings, there's like receipts and bookmarks. Paper stuff that I didn't know where to put. So, there was the sketchbook tour. I really hope you enjoyed it, maybe got some inspiration from all of this art. Do you want to see my new sketchbook that my sister bought me? Ta-da! She knows the kind I like, so she just bought me another one. And I'm excited to get started with it. Isn't that crazy? This used to look exactly like that. But now it's way thicker. It's really beat up. Can you see how that's been scratched? So there'll be a video coming up of me drawing on the front of this, drawing in the first pages. I haven't really been a strong one for a whole welcome page thing. It just sort of is another page in my sketchbook. But maybe I'll make an effort so that I can make a video out of it. So look out for that. In the meantime, thank you so much for watching. Like if you want any more sketchbook tours. As I said, that's number 9. So there's a lot more where that came from if you're interested in seeing more videos like this. And subscribe if you want to. That would be great. And have a great week. Bye!